I'm John Krasinski.
And I'm Micheal Kelly.
And this is the Wired Autocomplete interview. Come on, man. Pull it together. We haven't even gotten the intro out.
I'm sorry, okay.
Do you want to take more time? Or?
How many movies has John Krasinski directed?
Technically, I've directed 5 movies. The 5th one is a movie called If that I just finished directing a few weeks ago. So I can't even believe I'm vertical. I'm not. I'm in a chair. But close enough. Yeah, it would be 5 movies. Thanks for asking, Micheal.
Yeah, my pleasure.
You should know that as a friend of mine.
What did John Krasinski do in Free Guy?
Played a small voice. Ryan Reynolds asked me to do a voice in the movie on my phone. I was a guy that looked like he was in the witness protection program, and I believe made an inappropriate comment in a sexual innuendo, as they call it. You should see the movie.
I did see the movie. I did not know.
Yeah.
How about that?
You don't know anything about
Look at that.
I thought we were friends.
I should do more Googling. Where was John Krasinski a waiter?
Anywhere that would have me. I was fired from 9 different jobs while pursuing acting, but not just waiting jobs. Oh no, it wasn't just the restaurant business that said no. I worked at a yoga studio. I was a illegal real estate agent, still being followed by lawyers about that. And what else did I do? I was a casting associate where I read with other actors in the room.
How was John Krasinski in Shrek? Who was John Krasinski in Shrek?
Oh boy. Didn't know you'd be teaching him reading.
I'm reading upside down.
Yeah, that's not true. It's right side up.
I'm like this, man.
I played Sir Lancelot in Shrek, which is really the only thing that makes me cool in my house as of now, because my kids otherwise thought I was an accountant, because my wife was in Mary Poppins, which was a little bit of a cheap shot to bring that into a kid's space. My kids can't see anything that I'm in except for Shrek, so there we are. Yeah.
John Krasinski, favorite Office episode?
Wow, that's a hard question to answer. I would have to say my favorite Office episode was Diversity Day. It was technically the 2nd episode, but it was the first episode of our own, meaning the pilot was a direct copy of the British show. The whole script was the exact pilot of the British show. So Diversity Day was our first episode that was ours and ours alone. And I will never forget that, because being in that room, not only was I the most unprofessional actor because I laughed at every single thing that happened, and I totally threw the being in a documentary out the window. I was like, no, I'm gonna laugh at everything all these people do. But I remember feeling in the room and looking around at all these people who didn't think anyone was gonna watch this show, and we still didn't think anyone would watch the show, but I said, this is gonna be one of the funniest things that's ever been recorded on television. Too bad no one will see it, because who knows where this show goes. And I went back to waiting tables, true story. After we shot the first 4 episodes, I was like, best thing I've ever done, no one will see it. And I signed up to wait tables again. The hardest I've ever laughed in my life is the Christmas episode where Steve pretends to be Santa and asks Brian Baumgartner, who played Kevin, to sit on his lap. And as soon as Steve said, "What would you like, little boy?" and he lost all the air in his body when Brian sat on him. I've never laughed harder in my life, and if you're a fan of the show, you know that they used to just swing pan to Jim for a reaction. And I looked over to the cameraman, I said, don't even try it. I will not be here. And so every time he swings to, it was an empty room. I just wasn't there. I just told him, I will not be here. I'm not professional, and I'll be here on the floor laughing my ass off, and we did.
Can John Krasinski ice skate?
I can ice skate. Thank you for asking. Poorly, but I can do it. Growing up in Boston, it was very cold, so there's very few things to do when it's that cold, so ice skating was definitely on the docket.
And did you ever in a anything on camera?
I did. My first commercial ever, actually. Yeah, weird.
Maybe that's
nice
why
question. Oh, okay. I think it was the first commercial I ever acted in. It was a Dunkin' Donut spot where you were a fan that won a fantasy with the Boston Bruins, and so I got to skate with the Bruins, and I skated out on the ice and was supposedly supposed to be checked by one of the Bruins players. We did about 20 or 30 takes, and it was always funny, but not funny enough because it didn't look like he really hit me. And I said, on this last one, really hit me. And it's the one they use. He kicked me 6 feet off the ice, and my skates come into the frame, and I landed, and my knee wasn't right for about 6 years. So thanks, Dunkin' Donuts. You'll be hearing from my lawyer. Let me see if I can read this upside down. Does Micheal Kelly speak Spanish?
No.
You still don't?
No.
No.
I had to learn it for I had to learn it for Jack Ryan, and I did not speak a word of it. And when I was offered the job, the guys who were pitching it to me, I said, look, guys, I really want to do this show, super interested, but I don't speak a word of Spanish. So if you want to find somebody who does, I completely understand. I really want to do it. And they were like, no, it's just a little bit. Cut to getting the scripts and freaking out when I saw how much Spanish I had to speak and do interrogation scenes. And I was like, guys, I don't speak any Spanish. So I had to learn it for the show.
Who Micheal Kelly, actor Criminal Minds? I'm going to decipher it as, was Micheal Kelly on Criminal Minds, or if you were, what, I think they mean person of interest.
It was their first failed spinoff, to the best of my recollection. It was me and Forrest Whitaker and Janine Garofalo, but we did a spinoff and we lasted all of one season. Our spinoff was on their show. And then we did a season of our show, and then they canceled us because it wasn't good.
Thank you. We are answer you for. Mm-hmm. Okay.
That is the weirdest Google search.
Well, that gets weirder. Who is Micheal Kelly Guitars? I just love that question.
This is actually interesting. There is a Micheal Kelly Guitars. They make some really rad guitars too. And
don't send them one. Do not send them one.
They're sending me one.
No, don't.
We've been in contact on Instagram, and they were like, "We'd love to send you a guitar." And I was like, "Cool," because I play guitar. So I was like, "Right on."
And he does Instagram, so
and
he's cool.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you have it, folks.
Where does Micheal Kelly live? And what time do you shower?
I know, right? Like, I lived in New York City for 25 years, and we have kids now, and we just recently left the city and moved about an hour north to some beautiful horse country.
Do you want to drop a pin, or?
Yeah, just drop a pin.
Just show everybody.
Come on over and visit.
Amazing.
When did John Krasinski play Mr. Fantastic?
Last year, I was lucky enough to have a small cameo role in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
What knife does John Krasinski use in A Quiet Place?
Wow. That's a great question. And I wonder if it comes from Andy, the owner and artist of Half-Faced Blades. Andy's an ex-Navy SEAL that I worked with, gone into his own business of designing knives. And so when I was directing Quiet Place, I thought, I'm gonna call Andy and see if he'd give me one of his kick-ass knives for Quiet Place. And so that's the knife that's hanging from my bag the whole movie. And they're so sharp, they will take your entire arm off. Not a finger, your arm off.
They really are, they're badass, and mine is under my bed. Like, he gave us the Jack Ryan guys knives as well. And
so to whoever asks where he lives, don't visit him.
Cool.
He will kill you.
Exactly. Where does Mike Kelly live? You don't want to know. Was John Krasinski in every episode of The Office?
Probably wasn't in every episode. I don't know the answer to that question. I would imagine I wasn't in every episode. It felt like I think I was in almost every episode, but there were episodes where characters went on road trips or things like that not all of us were in. Although I was probably in the cold open to those episodes. So
right.
That's a big question mark. So thank you for searching it. When you find out the answer, let me know.
John, you were actually only missing in one episode of The Office.
Thank you. So I was in 208 episodes. Is that right?
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Hi, I'm old.
I missed one as well. 71 of the 72 House of Cards.
209's more. But
everything is a competition. Everything. How is John Krasinski so mean? No. How is John Krasinski related to Stanley Tucci?
Stanley Tucci is my brother-in-law. He married my wife, Emily Blunt's sister. They met at our wedding, got married soon after that. It was a pretty exciting thing. Love was in the air that day. Sure was. Micheal Kelly, House of Cards.
Yes.
Dude, the wording of your questions is incredible.
I know.
Micheal Kelly, House of Cards.
You know what it is? 5-year-olds do mine. Doug Samber's the craziest thing, I think, and he killed people. So he's so out there that he thought he could control his alcoholism by giving himself measured doses through a syringe. That's how he consumed his shots of alcohol. And funny enough, one day, I did a full shot of bourbon on the show because they actually filled the syringe with real bourbon.
Filled it. Micheal Kelly, audiobook narrator. I mean, these are statements and questions at the same time.
I know, but yes, I am. Yes, I did. I did a Stephen King book on tape, Joyland. It's a creepy ass book, man. It's crazy.
Dude, I will.
Crazy.
Based on your reading skills, it must have taken a really long time. Really long time to get through that. I'm sorry to Stephen King.
You know what was crazy?
Who's a big hero of mine. Sorry that you chose him. I would have done a better job. I want to hear you read that so
Yeah.
bad.
You'll get through a chapter.
Micheal Kelly Sopranos?
Statement. Yes, I did The Sopranos. It was at that point in my career when they're like, all right, we should probably stop doing guest stars. But my manager called and he was like, it's The Sopranos. They want you to come do an episode. And I think it's something that you are going to want to tell your kids one day that you were a part of. So it was season 6. And I remember I went to the audition and I was just fed up. It was just a shitty time. I had a beard, I had a thermal shirt on, a t-shirt, and it was an FBI agent. And I was like, I'm not shaving, man. I'm just, one of those moods. And I was like, I'm not doing it. And I go in, I read for it. First I sat down and she was like, what kind of FBI agent are you? And I was like, undercover. And she was like, okay, that's funny, but no. She was like, go ahead, just read it. And so I read it and she was like, that was really good. And then I got called and she said,
Do you speak Spanish?
do you speak Spanish? So I went to the callback, I shaved. It was for, David Chase was there. And I was like, oh, wow. Went and I did the episode. And then it turned into, I don't know, 6 or 7 episodes of the last 2 seasons. So it was cool to be a part of The Sopranos.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, these are Jack Ryan. Let me see.
Okay.
Get my specs.
Does,
You got to show the
sorry, does Jack Ryan follow the books?
That could be answered 2 ways. It's like, do we follow Tom Clancy's books? Or am I a by-the-book kind of CIA operative? See what I mean? See what I did there?
I do.
I'll let your brain explode for a while. And then what it is we don't actually follow the books that Tom Clancy wrote. It's a new take on the character. However, in my opinion, we always try to put in an homage to each of the books or each of the movies that the character's famous for. This new season, season 3, when we came up with the idea, it was Hunt for Red October. We wanted to pay a little homage to by involving Russia, getting to go to Russia, but also instead of a nuclear submarine, it's a man that we're looking for. It's intel that we're looking for rather than a submarine. That was the idea there.
There you have it. Is Jack Ryan an action series? Hell yeah, it is. And I love it, man. It's so much fun to do. I mean, I think it's one of the things that we enjoy most on the show, and that we get to do a lot of our own stunts. And so to push yourself every season as I get older to see if I can do it still it's a lot of fun.
And I got thrown out of a helicopter, so it better be an action series, or I really need to call a lawyer.
Or people are just mean.
Is Mike November bad? Jack Ryan. Take that 2 ways.
Oh, shit. Yeah. No, man. He worked for the CIA, and now he's an entrepreneur, so to speak. He does some questionable things, but
Yeah,
I don't think that makes him bad.
No, he's a
anyway.
morally questionable person.
No.
Yeah, he's
He
a bad
does
guy.
some morally questionable things.
But the guy who plays him is anything but bad.
Aw, thanks, buddy.
Who plays him? What does Mike November mean?
It's the I knew. It's the military NATO phonetic.
Phonetic alphabet.
That's right, the NATO phonetic alphabet.
He
So
meant NATO phonetic, like Wilco,
NATO phonetic,
or
like,
Charlie, or Bravo.
Whiskey Tango, Mike November. It just so happens to be the coolest name in any, certainly cooler than Jack Ryan. Just saying.
Is Jack Ryan a real story? No, it is not a real story. It is based on the character that was created by Tom Clancy in various books and also movies. I think the coolest part about the show versus the movies, the big difference for me, at least getting to play him, is that it's long-form storytelling. If you like it, you can buy a bunch of books. They're out there for you. So Michael, how was your first Wired autocomplete interview? How did that feel?
I really want to figure out why people ask my questions in statements.
I was really fascinated to learn about you. I know you were because you clearly don't know anything about me.
I was
What
a lot of times.
was decent friends. I actually thought that we were gonna, like, our kids are friends.
We talk about a lot of stuff, but I was like, oh, wow, interesting. Didn't know you were anything besides a waiter.
Thank you, Wired.
Thanks
By
a
the way,
lot.
I didn't know that you were anything but a waiter. That's what that guy just said. I am gonna drop that pin. I'm gonna show everybody where you live right now. Give me my phone.